This is Manny of the Waste, and today we'll be starting our mega farm build. We're currently located in Oberlin Station. This is a somewhat pre-established settlement. It comes with 2 people and 3 water. So the first thing that I like to do when I come to a new settlement is first look around and decide, what type of settlement it's going to be, whether it's going to be like a pre-war thing, or am I going to try to make a mega farm to sustain the other places, because you make more caps when the settlers aren't really doing anything but hanging around. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is just work on teardown. We're going to get rid of all this and try to make new structures and pre-existing structures. Okay, so follow me. It's going to get good. Okay, so now that we have the grounds cleared and we've gotten all the resources that we can get for the build, we're going to go on ahead and make sure that we have a supply line set up to Oberlin Station. You get supply lines by picking up the first rank of the local leader perk, and it just pretty much lets you share material so you don't have to run around with steel and wood on you. Okay, now that that's established, we're gonna go ahead and do the normal, which is getting people over here. So we're probably gonna just take it one step at a time. I do want to try to start getting my people together, so that's why I'm gonna go on ahead and get the settlement beacon set up. I did kind of kick myself in the foot though, because I should have put some defense, and then that way we would have had bumper growth, but that's no problem. I can take care of that. And literally these settlements, they'll build really fast. Okay, so we've got our generator down, we've got our recruitment radio beacon down, and then we're gonna wire the 2 up, lights and power. Okay, so that's gonna get the signal going out to the waste, and then maybe we can get some people over here to man our farms and just enjoy life a little more. Not scared of death claws, although that stuff can still happen. Okay, so now that we're making it a mega farm, we want to go on ahead and get our food down. I'm liking mud fruit. It takes a lot of space up, but I mean, when you get a lot of space, it's okay. But there's a couple of reasons why it's really good. Number one, it gives 1 food per plant, so space versus resources is actually a lot better. The second reason is that they sell for 8 caps each when you have all the proper perks and you got charisma 10. So now that we got all of the mud fruit down, we actually got our first settler here. So we're just gonna go on ahead and get her assigned to some of the mud fruits. Normally settlers, when it's farm area and they come in and they're new, they'll just go on ahead and find one and decide, I'm gonna work this resource. So you don't really have to tell them so much about farming, but it's the other things that you really gotta tell. The game kind of leaves that stuff lacking. But anyways, we got our mud fruit farm set up. It stretches nice and far, but if you notice, the one pre-established building that we came with is really small, and it could only fit those 3 beds in there. So we're gonna go on ahead and expand it, and I'm thinking about doing a long column type building. That way we can overlook the farms and then possibly overlook the sweet coast. So to start, we're gonna go on ahead and use our shack foundations. I want to go on ahead and raise it up out of the ground a bit, but it's usually kind of hard to determine of a good height. So just a quick tip, you can put the small stairs down first and then come back with your shack foundation and put that up, and then as you can see, it gives you the perfect height, and then that should be fine. And we'll go on ahead and we'll build it out I could have probably made it a little higher, but I didn't want the shack foundations to be floating off the ground because that looks a little weird. And so we're gonna build it back, fighting with the snap as usual, but I'm sure we'll get it. For this base, by making it nice and long and oblong, we'll have plenty of room for beds and things like that. But we'll also have a second floor for like recreational uses and cool stuff like that. And you know, we'll also want like radios and things like that to boost the settlement happiness and just make it a really cool. Because what I've noticed is that at night, like, I keep swiveling, but at night you will find where your settlers like to hang out, because they might not want to hang out in the predetermined areas. And then that way you can get a nice area set up, you know, with a radio, some chairs. Anyways, so we got our walls set up. First level's good. I don't like putting windows in the areas that I'm gonna have them bedding down, just for the simple fact that they don't like them. They kind of think that they're still outside. So settlers don't understand the aesthetics of windows, so try to give their area just, you know, flat, you know, safety. And then you can put your cool stuff on the second floor. So we're gonna go with our shack stairwell. Always good stuff. I was thinking about putting a second stairwell in, but I decided against it. That way there's only one way up to the shops area. So now we're gonna go with our shack upper floors. That's gonna take care of any gaps. If you notice, our staircase actually comes with shack upper floors, which is really cool. It's almost as if the developers knew that people were going to be using the shack upper floor to make the really cool stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and place these all around the base, just to get our floor foundation set up. Okay, so now that we have our first floor and front doorway established, we're gonna probably want to go on ahead. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me explain. I was explaining this a little bit earlier in the video, but I needed to put this turret out to increase growth, and that's just what I'm just showing now. Defense-wise, it probably isn't gonna do much to some rampaging super mutants, but it makes them feel better. Okay, so we've got our shack upper floor set up, and as you can see, it's fully clothed in. We're gonna run some lights and power down here, make it nice and sweet. And we got a nice view overlooking the river, and then one overlooking the farm. So what I'm thinking about doing is I'm gonna go with a half building. So I'll kind of like shell one side of the building, all sides, and then give a nice front railing so people can come out here and gaze at the beautiful wasteland landscape. So we're gonna go on ahead and get started getting those walls up. I'm using the same building materials that I've been using for the whole thing until something nicer comes out. These shack walls, I mean, they literally are real walls, and they're pretty cheap once you get to some in-game action. So as you can see, I'm just building it up around. I was gonna have it overlooking the farm, but then I decided that people probably didn't want to look at their jobs all the time. So we're gonna have it overlooking the river because it's actually a pretty nice view, despite the messed up tugboat and things like that. But, you know, wastelanders might not understand that. They might think it's some art, and it's beautiful. So we're going again with our shack upper floor, just pretty much finishing the build. What we're gonna do up here is put like a nice lounge area, maybe some chairs, a bar, some like a radio, definitely a radio, some pictures and stuff. And here I'm deciding on getting some windows in there, because this isn't where they'll be sleeping. This will be just kind of like a recreation room, so I wanted to have some sweet vistas. And I was gonna make it a little longer, but I decided against it. I thought it was a bit trashy. And these right here, these railings, I mean, they are godsend. They snap. They look pretty decent. There are some nicer ones that I'll get into a little later. They're a little more tedious to put up, but they're pretty much for your mansions and things like that you want to build. So we're about to just set the railings up all over this area. Okay, now we got our railings set up, we got our windows, and it's actually starting to look pretty nice up here. I'm getting a little jelly of the settlers. No, just kidding. And there you go, guys. Step 1 is done. We've got the megaform established, well, the frame of the megaform. We've got a nice settlement housing established. So on the next part, we're going to go ahead and get our settlement wired up for power, because lights and power is a really big deal with the settlers. So hey, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe, and stay tuned for more vids. This is Manny of the Waste signing out. Take care.